Okay. All right, who has questions?
If you have a question, you can write on the chat, or I can allow you to unmute yourself. You just have to raise your hand. All right, let me cool the cold here, because it's always like when someone asks the first question, then, oh, I have a question. So let me break the things up a little bit and ask myself, I will ask a question. On the videos that we saw, as you were talking about, a lot of times, the population with cerebral palsy, they have a hard time breathing. And on the videos that we saw, many times you're working with them on lying down and even doing Bhastrika or Kapalabhati, or even the alternate nostril breathing. And there was one of the persons that I saw that you're doing the alternate, the Bhastrika only with one nostril. Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Yes, so why I was working with the child lying down is because lying down, I could have better alignment. Many of those adults I was working with, they are used to be on a wheelchair the whole day, and their bodies already, molded to that wheelchair. And when you sit them or try to sit them out of the wheelchair, they are going to be like in the wheelchair, like this. So when they lie down, I open chest and I can have their spine well aligned, the hips and shoulders, simple alignment. So it's much, much better. That's why. I don't like to work with people in wheelchair, because I think that is extremely dangerous. I have seen people exercising the wheelchair and falling and hurt themselves. So yoga is meant to be on the floor, not anywhere else. On the floor is much safer. There's no way to unless you are gonna do what I said that yoga for the special child doesn't have, which is momentum. So all the movements are very gentle, very gentle. And then when you accommodate the child on the floor, it's better. If he needs to touch pillow, but usually, like you saw me, I use my legs, I use my feet. It's like I told you in the part 1 program, you develop lots of arms and use all of them when working with the child. It's a good work for you as well. So anyway, that's why. And I'm trying to take away something that is right in front of me here.
I know what you're talking about. Is the live transcript. If you go to the bottom and you see CC, you go in the little arrow and put hide, and then it stops showing to you.
It's very annoying. But I cannot put on higher. I cannot put
hide. You hide. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Anyone has a question? Did I inspire you to ask a question? All right.
What do you have to do to be able to attend a client via Medicare or private health insurance?
Don't worry about it. That is something else. Sivakami, don't worry about that question. But Amanda has a question. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. That was a private message. Amanda has a question. Hi, Amanda. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. Question, Sivakami. Unfortunately, I don't work with this child anymore. The family has moved away, but I worked with a young girl. She had very severe CP, and she had no swallow ability. So is there anything that you would do for any children that don't have the ability to swallow? What would you do differently with getting them to breathe well?
Okay, it's a good question. And is this child, does the child has a feeding tube?
Yes.
So, you know, when you don't use something, you lose it. You know that expression, right? So a child that has a feeding tube will be having less and less and less, you know, development in taste and in muscles of their mouths and things like that. I would suggest speech pathology. Now, in yoga, there is no one thing only that you work with the child. It's the whole stuff. It might improve all the time you put the child in a position that the child has had below hips, because brings all these muscles into their anatomical position. It might improve. And also, if the child has even, you know, losing the words, the saliva, when the child is let's say, babando, Renata.
Drooling.
Drooling. When the child is drooling, and this kind of position also helps the child to control more, to get in control of this. So in yoga is not, besides all those exercises I have done with you to stimulate all these areas, massaging and the jaw bones, work on the jaw bones here, and closing, like even there was one adult of those that I was working with, he is a mouth breather. He's a mouth breather. And before I told him, now close here, I was working with him, developing that awareness here. And because he understands, see, he's not verbal, but he understands very well what you are asking him. And then he obeyed, and he was with his mouth closed like you saw. So that person probably will always remember it and try to do the same, because I taught him how to talk with that area of his body and how to put that area of his body into work, to improve his condition, to improve his brain and to make him feeling healthier. So I am positive to tell you that he, as an adult, he's going to apply it. But I still think that he should be doing yoga more often. So I will, you know, strongly suggest, I'm sure that this person might be doing speech pathology, and in speech pathology, they are going to stimulate all these areas, because the less they use it, the less stimulated it is. And while the child is on feeding tube, difficult. There are parents that I know that even the child has feeding tubes, sometimes they put some, you know, food in their mouths to exactly stimulate. You know, that is the way to do. Okay, the child needs a feeding tube. There is nothing we can do. The child needs a feeding tube. All right. But sometimes just a little, but very small, something that will not make the child, suffocate or this or that, just a small, or sometimes even a liquid that the parents put their finger and put in the child's mouth to make the child, because that's the only way to stimulate. Yogurt, something that will not make the child to be in danger. So you put your finger and put on the tip of the child's tongue, and the child immediately has that kind of reaction, and it stimulates. I know many parents that do this, even if the child on feeding tube, because they are expecting that one day the child can take out the feeding tube and the child will be able to eat. Okay, that's the only thing I can tell you. What is your my email? No.
Don't worry.
Okay.
There's no other question. Anyone else who would like to ask a question? Would you raise your hand and I'll help you to unmute your microphone? Can I say something, Sivakami?
You are a speech pathologist, you can say.
Exactly. So yeah. So as a speech therapist, Amanda, and I work with a boy that is in the book, Padam, who has he had a feeding tube, and his uvula used to come and rest on his tongue many times. He used to go a lot. So what I did to him was a lot of work on Hari Om, slow, to go Ha Ri Om. And as Sivakami is saying, I used to work with him every day, and I worked with him every day for 4 months. And he was supposed to do a hip surgery to help to open up his hips. He didn't need that anymore. He started talking to me, and I have a recording of him chanting Hari Om, which was just amazing to see. And I used to work on those exercises that you learn on part 120 to work with the mouth. And I tried to help him to understand the difference between exhaling through his nose from exhaling to his mouth. Okay, and then trying to inhale through his nose and maybe exhale through his mouth, just to get the feeling of the air flowing and getting a little bit more awareness of that area. Because what Sivakami is saying about what you don't use, you lose, is because the nervous system is talking to the fascia and through your whole body. And if that area doesn't talk back to you, that area does not exist in your brain. And so the more you stimulate the area, even like with touch, with things like even your hand touching, that's why the touch is so important in yoga, because when you touch the body, you warm up that area. So you wake up the nervous system. And when you wake up the nervous system, they said, oh, a new part of my body. And then that conversation starts back and forth. So maybe it does not have the response into the function in a sense of being able to swallow that you want, but that area lights up back into the brain. And as you work, then it comes to, then maybe one day the child will be able to swallow on his or her own, or the adult. Okay?
Thank you, Renata.
You're welcome. Harsha, you have a question. Let me unmute you, sweet. There we go.
Hi, Sivakami. Thank you. And thank you, Renata. I'm really enjoying this conference.
Yay. How have you been, kid?
Great. So I have a question specifically on adult with cerebral palsy, with the mental health and emotional health, and how yoga can support that, especially when the person is nonverbal, but through their AAC communication system, through the computer, they express that they hate their body. They hate it and they'd rather die. And how would you show them a way to actually fall in love with themselves and value themselves?
That's an excellent question. And I would I would ask you another question. How do you feel that child that you are talking about? are you feeling, you know, looking at her and seeing her as a person? Because you know that
Oh,
yoga
yes,
for the
yes.
special child, we don't work on labels. We are not doctors. We are working with the person there. And if you have to understand that all is energy that you create. If you approach to the child feeling pity for the child, feeling that, oh gosh, how come? I have seen a lot at this point of my life. And there are certain situations that I ask, how can a person live, survive in that body? How is this person surviving there? But I am there trying to figure out what is the way to make the child feeling better. Now, if you create this kind of energy around you and approach to the child is halfway walked, okay, halfway walked. And then yoga is amazing for work emotionally speaking. You know how amazing the benefits of breathing exercise, amazing the benefits of moving the body, doing the specific breathing. When the child cannot control that movement with the breath, you observe, deep observe the child's breath, and then you move in accord with that breathing. So you make things more and more easier, and the child, even a small thing that the child does, if you don't even need to say, very good, you did it good, but you, that energy that flows from you tells the child is doing okay. It's all about that back and forth energy that you are sharing. You are not sharing to the child just your class. You are not sharing just the class. You are sharing your energy. According with that energy that you are sharing, the child is going to respond to you in a way. And yes, I have seen many situations when the child feels uncomfortable in the body. And so what? There are so many typical people, they don't feel, comfortable in their body either. So anyways, it depends on the way you share that energy with that person. Because you cannot heal, unfortunately. I wish I could. When I think, oh my God, how can that person be surviving that body? I think like that because I am asking, please let me heal that person. They don't have the power. I don't have the power because it's kind of karma, and I don't have the power to change people's karma. I wish I had.
Yeah.
But so yes, you can. Okay, let's talk to the viewpoint of a typical people. Okay, typical people. So you always looking for what? Positive person that you feel good in front. That a person that lifts you up. Now, you don't want to be around the people that puts you down, that are negative, that are always complaining, this and this. So this is the kind of energy that you build up, that I'm talking about, that you share with the people. It's a back and forth, very serious back and forth energy. So the main thing that you have to do when you approach is to change the way you see that person. Is to be able to see deeper and to see qualities and not challenges and not negativities. And this is the only way I know. And I have seen it working very well. I have seen many people that didn't have that kind of, love for their body and become, feeling much better than that body. That's the only way.
Yeah. I mean, this young lady is actually one of my closest friends. She's also moved away from Hong Kong. But we stay in touch a lot. And her and I are, we're very, very connected, very, very connected. And it's something that she's always struggled with. And of course, the yoga and yoga for the special child has given her that newfound respect, but it's always lingering there for her. And I think this is always, maybe it's just society, right? It's too much pressure to be perfect. Because when she says she hates her body, I would make a joke and be like, welcome to the club of every woman I know around the world. Nobody likes their body. It's always going to be something. So, there's nothing wrong with you feeling that way. We all feel that way.
Well,
but she's beautiful.
Keep on doing that way because it is going to work.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay, Lakshmi, are you asking a question or you are just waving for me? No, you're not waving, it's your hair. Your hair is moving like that.
Guys, we have time for like a quick question if anyone else has one.
Hey, Ludmila, how are you doing? Only now I'm seeing you there.
Okay, no question. All right, all right, we have one. Abigail, go ahead.
It's not really a question. I want to thank you, but I wanted to refer to what Harsha was speaking about, because in the first conference in London, this is exactly something she was speaking about the self-esteem of such impaired people that sometimes find themselves closed in like at home and not meeting people and not feeling purposeful in their lives. And at her, after she talked, when I came back, there's a child that I work with that hasn't been out of his home since the beginning of the pandemic, and he has a tube here, breathing through here and feeding through his stomach. And since I came back from London, I started talking to him about him being able to pray for other people and give his good energies to other people in the world, with no one stopping the light out of his heart going to anyone. And it's something that if I could video him, how excited he gets about that idea every week that I come to him, and over again, just that knowing that he has that power to give out of his light to anyone in the world. And so I never thanked Harsha for that, and also from him too as well, and also for Sivakami for her attitude at that. I totally see that with these kids. So that's what I wanted to say.
Very good. Thank you, Abigail.
Thank you. Thank you. And it's very interesting because the next talk is about the polyvagal theory, and we're going to be talking a little bit about this as well. So it's just a continuation, and it's kind of nice that we have that. Anyone has any last one, yes or no question?
I think that it is going to be very nice to see Petra talking, and then you see how beautiful her child is. Like I said before, the chances of a person with CP to pass the same kind of disability to the child is the same one that a person with no disability to pass to have a child with CP. So this is not hereditary. And it's gonna do. It's gonna be very, very nice to see Petra talking, giving her testimony. When I met her, she wasn't even yet. She was just a little girl, which didn't like her body, which didn't, which had all these kind of things that you are talking about. And then happened that she found the person that loved her the way she is, like I used to say to her. And now they are a happy couple with a beautiful child. All right, I'm gonna say thank you again. Now you're not kicking me out. Now it's true, right?
Now it's for real. Yes, this talk just ended. Thank you all so much for being here, and I'll see you guys in 5 minutes.
Okay, kiddos, now I'm going. Bye-bye.